And Thailand has lifted its emergency decree banning large gatherings to try to calm ongoing anti-government protests. Despite the olive branch, protesters have vowed to continue pressing on with their demands. Activists have given Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha 3 days to resign. For a closer look at the situation in Thailand, we're joined now by Dr. Termsak Chalermpalanupap. He is the visiting fellow at the ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute. Dr. Termsak, has Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha done enough to quell the protests?
I'm afraid not. And that's why the protesters have given him 3 days to reconsider. But I'm afraid he is not going to quit anytime soon. So we can expect some more confrontation this Sunday evening. And in fact, the police are already practicing improving their defense of the government house in anticipation of a larger protest crowd Sunday evening.
And Dr. Termsak, is there room for the middle ground here? I mean, what can the Prime Minister do to appease the protesters?
Well, he can resign, but then he doesn't want to do that just yet. He can try to convince protest leaders to let Parliament do the job of fixing the constitution, maybe setting up a new drafting assembly to draft a new constitution. But that will take quite some time, maybe a whole year to do that. But the protest leaders are very impatient now. They want to press for him to resign first.
Dr. Termsak, how meaningful is this 3-day deadline that the protesters have set? I mean, what leverage do they actually have to force him out of office? He said no. He said he's not going anywhere.
Well, this was not the first demand for him to resign, though. Earlier, there was even demand for his immediate resignation. But then the protest leader kept coming up with new demands, now giving him 3 days. Now they can support the drafting of a new constitution. Earlier, they want the parliament to adopt the people's draft immediately. So we have also to watch how the protest leaders are changing their demands.
So what do you think is going to happen next then? Or do you see like an escalation of protests?
Well, it depends on the protest leader, their calculation, because the Prime Minister is not going to step down. And he still has some measures that he can impose. He can reimpose a state of serious emergency. He can impose curfew in Bangkok. He can even declare martial law in Bangkok and bring in the troops to stop the protests. So there are steps that he can take to counter the protests. So that's why I say the protest leader have to calculate very carefully. Now, it looks likely that there is a consensus in Parliament to do the drafting of a new constitution. I think this is their big victory already.
So perhaps some consensus in Parliament, and that points as well to this extraordinary session, which is set for next Monday. What can we expect out of that session?
But this extraordinary session for 2 days only to discuss the political crisis. They will not vote on anything. The actual ordinary regular parliamentary session will start on the 1st of November. That's when parliamentarians, the MPs and senators can start discussing how to go about drafting a new constitution. So we have to wait actually until the 1st of November.
Okay, many thanks for your thoughts this evening, Dr. Termsak Chalermpalanupap, visiting fellow at the ISEAS-Yusof Ishak Institute.